in the final score sheet, but they haven't given up. They're a team, they're a program, very young program, only less than 15 years. And when you compare to some schools like Johns Hopkins in the Big 10, 15 years is not much to be playing lacrosse, but they've bought into their coach Kevin Conry, and they're happy to see the results, so they're sticking with it.
All right, now we have Penn State in possession right now, trying to clear on their side. Michigan pulling back on their press. It's cleared. It's turned over by Penn State. A little bit of a scramble, picked up, knocked into the air, back to the Penn State side. Seems like Ryan Cohen is trying to get that possession back, but it doesn't seem to be allowing that to happen.
Yeah, and a little bit of a soccer play there in the midfield, as I think we're going to see University of Michigan retaining the ball, actually, due to a call from the referee. But, Michigan, we know they're a desperate team. They play with desperation when they're successful, and it's plays like those that they end up being the difference maker. Who wins those loose balls? Who has that number of pickups at the end of the game? We'll have to see what the final score sheet looks like in that regard, but if Michigan wants to win and keep this lead, the lead lays in those balls.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, we had number 29 on Michigan. Peter Thompson tried to shoot for Michigan's fourth goal, but it bounced off the ground and went wide. So we see again number 15 on Michigan Jacob Jackson did not allow that possession to continue, and it was turned over to Penn State now. So Penn State has it on Michigan side, on the far side of the field. They're set up looking for something. A couple subs in. That's what's happening right now. A couple subs in. Pass to number 20 right above the block M. So we'll see what they do with the entirety of the field.
Yeah, Penn State has been content to kind of stretch the field earlier in this game, but it looks like recently they've been having more aggression, more success, kind of getting to that net physically, not doing as much cycling and kind of pushing hard and through as we're seeing right now.
All right, now we see again Penn State, like you said, John, using the entirety of the field. They looking for that wide shot opening. I think again, number 7 tried to shoot, went far on the near side of the field. So this is something that I haven't seen before, but Penn State's looking a little scrappy, if you ask me.
Yeah, Penn State, the key to them is sticking to their guns, right? They might not be the first quarter that they've necessarily drawn up in terms of how they wanted to come out, but a 3-1 lead, not insurmountable. And as you see here, they're still fighting.
Yeah. And it seems, John, as if that was a shot scored by Penn State, putting them up again, or putting them just 1 point behind the Wolverines with 1 minute and 45 seconds left in the first period. We'll see. I honestly don't know if I can say that I expected that to happen, considering how much of a battle that looked between the Penn State offense and the defense of Michigan.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Kevin Conry always talks about his schemes about clogging the passing lanes, clogging the shooting lanes, and making sure the Nittany Lions can't get their hands free. But as we see there, one missed assignment, an open man for the Nittany Lions, and it's in the back of the net, and it's just that quick when it comes to them.
Yeah, we see them now set up in a 1-2-1 face-off right now, kind of stuck between number 38 and on Michigan. And we've got 1 minute and 31 seconds left. They're still battling right now for that face-off. They're almost on top of each other right now, number 38 and on Michigan.
Exactly. Penn State and the University of Michigan are two historic wrestling programs, but I don't think you'd see that today, but we got a little bit of a treat, and that'll be Kevin Conry, incredulous on the sidelines. That's a ball that's going to go the way of Penn State. The Nittany Lions retaining possession, and Conry can't believe it as there was contact that I guess he did not see fit.
Yeah, very, very aggressive playmaking today, I think, John. It's a fun game to watch. It's definitely fun to watch today, considering it's not lazy. It's not, and that is a shot scored by Penn State, putting them up to 3-3, I believe. So, I believe I was mistaken. It didn't seem to have that went in. I think everyone in the crowd was also a little bit shocked that that didn't go in as well.
Exactly, Noelle. I feel like
a little confusion.
And we have the window open here. We can hear the ovation. It must have been just, up here in the press box, a little trick of the depth perception, because you see the net flash and you think, with goaltender, Wolverine goaltender Shane Carr sitting on his keister, you think, all right, I guess that's a goal scored. But in reality, maybe Michigan gets away with one right there, and they can thank their lucky stars that their luck's been on their side.
Yeah, I agree. It seems as if Jack Trainer shot that wide rather than going in, but I think everyone on the sideline and in the stands was a little bit deceived by that goal. But I think the Michigan Wolverines are going to take what they can get with their 3-2 lead right now.
Exactly, and with 30 seconds left in the first quarter, you never want to give up battling, and Michigan having possession is certainly helpful for that. But if you leave with a 3-2 lead and you're the Wolverines, you kind of have to just be happy with what you can get. They're the 16th team in the nation. That's nothing to sniff at. But Penn State has put together an impressive resume thus far this season, and to be winning after even a quarter is a victory in of itself.
Yeah, I totally agree. They're not really one to take the lead in many of these games. So for them to not be in the deficit, I think it's the energy that they really need.
Exactly. And we'll have to see here. Kevin Connery might have used his timeout for this momentary pause, because he wants to draw something up. As much as I just said they want to have a 3-2 lead, they want a 4-2 lead. Why stop here? They want to get greedy. They want to score as much as they can, because in an instant Penn State can turn on them, and we could be going into halftime with a much more major deficit as opposed to the lead.
No, I think you're totally right, and we're gonna see again as the game commences here right now. 29 seconds left on the clock, left in the first period. So we've got both teams setting up to play right now. Michigan has possession on the near side, looking for an opening for his teammates. Number 5 running around the net to the far side of the field, making some speed. Passed up, ball kept around, tight draw, and that is a shot scored by Michigan, putting them up again, like you said, John, up to a 4-2 lead.
Yeah, and credit to Coach Kevin Conner. He's standing on the sidelines right there. He's pleased this punch, because with 4 seconds left, you kind of hopefully eliminate the Nittany Lions' chances to come away with a goal to end the quarter. But now you've reestablished that 2-goal lead, and the University of Michigan is going to take as much as it can get when it comes to opportunities like these. A diving goal by number 2 in white, and suddenly, after a near miss on one end that we even thought was in, it's a completely different story and a 2-goal swing.
Yeah, energy was definitely shifted in the stands today from Penn State over to Michigan with that goal. All right, face-off once again, won by Michigan. But that ends the first period. We're now looking at a 4-2 lead for the Michigan Wolverines. It's a little bit of a refreshing take, if you ask me, for somebody who comes to a lot of these games, John.
Oh, yeah, and we've seen the script, and thank goodness they flipped it recently. I mean, I'm not sure how much you were a fan last year, but I think every Michigan lacrosse fan knows of kind of the collapse that happened to the program, losing 8 straight games after a spectacular 7-0 start. So being able to claw through games like these and be competitive late into the season is a win in of itself, and something that if Michigan wants to ascend to the heights of some of these other Big 10 lacrosse programs, they're going to have to learn how to do it and do it quickly.
And you can't cut on Michigan, because they are a very talented team.
Certainly
they're talented within their starting lineup. However, it takes a lot more than just talent to win a game. And I think, like you said before, the discipline that Penn State has is not going to keep them down. Mm-hmm. So it's not going to keep them nostalgic like it would Michigan. It's going to keep them on the line, on the pace to keep going in order to close this deficit, because with practice comes perfection. And with routine, they will find the perfection within their routine to close that gap.
Exactly, and I think that's something, if we're going to take an alternative perspective here, if you're the Nittany Lions, they're looking forward to being able to stick to their guns, right? If I'm the head coach of the Nittany Lions right now standing in that huddle, I'm saying, hey, 2 goals is not insurmountable, and, I mean, if you know the history of the University of Michigan, they're more than happy to fall behind by 2 and give up, or take a lead by 2 and lose that lead as well. So
they tend to get greedy, and then with their, oh, we're winning, and then that's when they lose it, John.
Exactly. You couldn't be more right. And it comes down to, I like what you said, talent and talent alone will never be enough, especially in a game like lacrosse where bounces go one way, guys win battles the other, and suddenly you can switch goals instantly. But we're entering the second quarter. I think I'm going to hand it off to our colleague, Jack Conlin, who's going to take over the call.
Thank you so much, John. It was great calling with you.
Thank you.
All right, now we start the second period, won by Michigan. Welcome on the call, Jack. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Noelle. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here. Watched a great first quarter of lacrosse there. Excited to get into these next few here. Michigan clinging to this 2-point lead after that exciting last second goal to end the first there.
All right, now we see number 5, Michael Boehm, looking for an opening right now on the Michigan offense. Pass to number 9, Josh Watt, on the far side of the field. Doesn't find anything. Passes it back up to the top of the Nittany Lions side. Seems to be a little bit of a running game right now. Not really much movement. Pass over to number 29 on Michigan, Thompson, looking for something. Loose ball. Shot goes high over the net. Doesn't seem like there was any action right there for Michigan.
Michigan not afraid to work late in the clock here through one quarter. Well, looks like that's going to continue there. They're playing patient. They're trying to find the right look. Penn State holding up pretty well on defense, though.
How do you think our Wolverines are doing right now? Do you think that this lead will stay, or do you think that they're gonna get cocky in the second half?
I think that's about as good of a start as you could ask for on their end. They played really strong offensive lacrosse. I thought they were patient. I thought they found the looks that they were looking for and didn't settle. I think that's going to be really important moving forward. But they got to play 4 quarters. That's been the challenge for Conry's teams over the last couple of years. Bright spots, some highs, also some lows falling up. So they just got to be consistent today, and I think that they're set up well to get past Penn State, which would be huge for the program here this year.
I totally agree. You know, like I said before, we saw a lot of deficits today, and a lot of tough losses against nationally ranked teams. You know, they played against Notre Dame, and they also had Johns Hopkins, who's also nationally ranked. Johns Hopkins is the oldest program in lacrosse history in the country, so for them to lose against that was definitely hard. We saw just now, Jack, 3 different shots taken for the Michigan Wolverines.
And that's huge for them, regardless of the outcome. You know, they didn't find the back of the net, but so much of college lacrosse is just possession, right? Michigan, taking energy out of the Penn State defense. It's so demoralizing to defend a full shot clock length and then have that reset and have to do it again. So they're making an impact right now, even though the scoreboard might not reflect it. They're setting themselves up really well through these first 2 minutes.
No, I think you're totally correct. You know, right now I'm looking at the ratio between shots and goals, and right now Michigan is almost at about 50%.
That's huge.
And considering that they just took 3 shots. So this is just for the second quarter. However, we see Penn State has 10 for 2. So
yeah, low numbers, slow start for Penn State, and credit to Michigan's defense on that. I'll say, too, this Michigan team, Josh Zawada gets a lot of press, and he's their most talented player offensively. Absolutely. He's an incredible offensive talent. He's been great for this program. But the well-roundedness of their attack today has been really impressive. We've had goals from a couple different players, guys that maybe aren't getting the same recognition. That shot to end the first quarter, really impressive stuff. They're going to need everyone to step up if they want to get through this one today.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's going to be, I think, seeing how physical these two teams have been in this last quarter, it's going to be really interesting to continue watching the chaos that is happening on the field right now.
Absolutely, and if we remember back to last year's overtime loss, this game might come down to the wire just like that one did.
All right, now we've got 13 seconds, or 13 minutes and 12 seconds left on the clock with Michigan leading 4-2.
Got 60 seconds left on the shot clock, too. That's going to be big.
We're starting now with Michigan possession. And a lag, waiting on the officials to start the play right now. It seems like there's a little hesitation on the sideline today. Not sure what's holding them up, but
here we go.
All right. Ball starts on the far side of comes to the near side of the field. Number 40 takes possession, passes it up to number 1 Michigan. You know, taking it far up the field. Penn State playing a tight zone defense right now. Michigan number 5, Michael Boehm, looking for something in the top corner. Doesn't find anything. Making a run right now. Josh Duwata passes it to number 40 on the Michigan side. Ryan Cohen. Back to number 3, looking for something. He comes around the net. Doesn't find anything. Penn State not allowing them to find any gaps right now.
But good for Michigan for not forcing anything. We got Justin Brown in here now. Obviously had the huge game last year in Happy Valley. See if he can repeat a performance like that.
It seems like Michigan's staying in a 2-1-2 right now. You know, not really. You know, they're spreading out the field. There's a shot taken, did not go in, unfortunately, for the Wolverines. It's recovered again by number 5 on Michigan, Michael Boehm.
And we're going to see the shot clock reset here with only 2 seconds left on it. Now we're back to, it was at a full 60, so that's what I'm talking about, really exhausting the Penn State defense, making them work for everything. Michigan being patient, looking for the right shot.
Yep, now we see number 22 on Michigan. We see a penalty, two flags flying right now.
Michigan going to hold on with advantage here.
Now we got number 9, Josh Duwata, waiting for something in the back, waiting for his teammates to set up. Doesn't find anything. Still stuck behind the net. Pass back to number 5, Michael Boehm. Still stuck behind the net. Penn State not really allowing them to get further to really square up to the goalie and find a shot.
Clock down to 6. Forced a shot there.
Not fortunately was picked up by the goalie, recovered. So now we're gonna see. They're gonna analyze the flags right now. All right, we have player number 6 on Penn State putting the penalty. So we have them on a man down. So we'll see what Michigan does with this lead.
And I think now's when it gets interesting because Conry really likes to play slow offensively. That's kind of how they've looked so far. But with a man up, we'll see if Michigan can try to force something a little bit quicker here, take advantage of this minute that they have that opportunity. And there's that shot right away, flies just right. Oh, and number 29 kicking himself for that one.
Yeah, I think Michigan is going to try to take as many shots as they can right now, considering that this is an advantage, being that Penn State does play a very tight man-on-man defense. All right, now we see setting up again. Seems that number 5.
It's a great save by Penn State. Now they'll hold on to possession. It feels like this is the first time they've had the ball all quarter.
I agree. Michigan has been taking these possessions and not allowing any turnovers to take that away from them. All right, now we're back on Michigan's side. Penn State finally has possession. Feels like for the first time in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, and I think they're going to slow down here. We'll let those last 10 seconds run off for the penalty time, see if they can get back to full strength before they try to set up an offensive opportunity here.
Yeah, we see Mac Costa, number 23 for Penn State. Keeping the ball very steady. Pass to number 48 on their team. Winkoff. He shoots. He scores.
Wow.
That is putting Penn State three goals on the scoreboard today, trailing 1 behind Michigan, 4-3. So it almost looked like the Michigan defense kind of fell asleep there a little bit. That's what it looked like over here, considering, I mean, if you think about it, they didn't really have to do anything for the last 5 minutes.
Great setup there by Penn State. I thought that was really impressive. They're holding the ball almost at midfield for the majority of that. That forces the Michigan defense to stay spread out. Penn State finds a crease right away and puts one in. Impressive long-distance goal there, and Michigan's going to have to try to collapse, keep things a little bit tighter moving forward.
We saw for Penn State, Kevin Winkoff kind of just cut across the field, looked for an opening, and found that gap in the defense.
And now the way you're looking at it, flipping the script, Michigan had possession for the first 5 minutes of this quarter and can come away with a goal. Now it's a 1-point game. The instant Penn State gets the ball back. Now Michigan won the face-off, so we'll see if they can try to put that one away. Short memory here.
Yeah, we talk about discipline. You know, when John was on the call with me, we talked about discipline and how, regardless of not playing for 5 minutes, we saw the
quick goal by Josh Zawada there. Wow, that was really impressive stuff off the right side. He took it himself. Michigan is back up 2 goals here.
Yeah, but it was a great interruption, you know, for my call right now. You know, seeing another goal for Michigan is a wonderful thing. You know, now Michigan is up 5-3 with 9 minutes and 30 seconds left in the second quarter.
Josh Zawada's grown so much overall as a lacrosse player during his time here, but he's always had just that X factor when he has the ball in you know, holding on to possession. He can always take it himself, and he's a threat from anywhere on the field, and I think that's why he's been such a special player for this program, and that's going to be a big part of his legacy. Goals like that where he just takes it himself, silences, you know, the Penn State sideline.
Yep, that was Josh Zawada's 21st goal of the season, so he's definitely racking up those goals today as the season kind of dwindles down.
Michigan won 2 face-offs in a row there. That's going to be huge for them too. Now they're looking to set one up again.
All right, now we see Michigan again with the possession on the far side of the field. Once again, using the entirety of their side all the way back up to midfield, taking a rush down, keeping it away from the goal. I think they're going to try to keep it wide. Yep, it's a shot taken by number 15 on Michigan. Jacob Jackson did not go in, but ball was recovered, and now we see what they're going to do. Ryan Cohen passes it to Josh Zawada on the far side. Ooh, seems as if number 27 lost his footing as Josh Zawada passes it to him.
Yeah, that one looked a little theatrical to me. I think that trying to maybe see if you can get the attention of a referee on that.
Yeah, number 27 looking for a play. Seems shot was taken right tight near the net, did not go in. The goalie for Penn State, number 50, Freyen, did not let that one go in. All right.
See, now Michigan bringing the ball all the way back out, you know, near midfield. They're really trying to stretch out this Penn State defense, see if they can create more space inside and get a longer shot. Hasn't worked for them so far. Another one missed there, but you can see the strategies changing. You know, they're trying to test out this defense, see where the weaknesses are.
Jack, do you think they're rushing a little bit, or do you think that all the shots that they've taken have been calculated?
You know, I noticed that change too. They're shooting earlier in the shot clock. I think that they're feeling the pressure or not feeling the pressure. They're trying to create some pressure and keep their foot on the gas here. I don't know if that's the strategy for them because, you know, Penn State just returned possession back to the other end, but definitely a shift there for sure.
You know, there's when you talk about lacrosse and a lot of these sports, Jack, you say, what's the one thing that loses a game? And that's a defense that doesn't have the strength to keep up and turnovers.
Absolutely.
And we just saw Michigan turn over the ball and Penn State bullet all the way down to their side to now run a possession that seems very high in momentum, high energy.
Absolutely. I think energy is going to be key here for both teams down the stretch. I think that I respect that Kevin Conry wants his team, you know, to keep their foot on the gas, keep shooting the ball, but they're going to have to hold on to it as well. Possession is so huge in these college lacrosse games. It's going to mean a lot for them.
You know, I agree. We see now Penn State is looking for an opening. They're playing quick. They're playing sharp strategy. We just saw number 22 on Penn State take a shot. That was Matt Traynor, and did not go in. Unfortunate for the Wolverines, but it was close. You know, Michigan has to wake up right now in order to keep this lead. Number 12 now taking it behind the net. They're keeping it away from their goal right now. I think they're going to try to come in tight and shoot. Does not go in. That was a shot by Penn State. It's not recovered.
we talk about the importance of defense, and I think that was a really telling, strong performance from Michigan's defense. That possession, they played really disciplined. I think that was really key. They knew when to help, and they knew when to back off and stay with their man. Penn State couldn't get a clean look there. That was huge for Michigan's defense.
And I think once Penn State made that possession really quick in the last about 5 minutes ago, it kind of woke up the defense.
Absolutely. And they're going to have to stay awake here because Penn State's coming right back.
Yeah, a lot of checking right now. Ball went loose for a little bit for Penn State, picked back up by number 16. Jack Traynor, he seems to be doing a lot for the Wolverines right now.
Jack Traynor playing a really strong game. Michigan's defense overall, I know they graduated a couple guys on that back line, but really strong showing here against, again, the 5th-ranked team in the country that they're up 2 on right now. Held only 3 goals through about 20 minutes lacrosse. And again, Penn State, they're trying to keep the field spread out. They're trying to keep their offensive spacing, but that requires, some long shots, and we just saw another one go left from them, and that's not a foolproof strategy if you can't be accurate finding the net.
And now, Jack, we just saw Penn State put in another one to bring up the score to 5-4. Michigan still have 1 point on the scoreboard as a lead. What do you think of that?
Michigan, they slowed down, absolutely, but they lost possession. That's the thing. They're going to have to control the ball better here because those quick turnovers at their own offensive end just took the air out of any lead that they had to start this quarter. It's going to be really important here for them to win a face-off or force a turnover and get right back to the offensive end.
No, I totally agree. It's almost as if Michigan didn't take advantage of how long they had possession for. They kept trying to rush those quick shots in the last couple minutes that they had possession, but now they're kind of scrambling to get that back.
Absolutely, and it looks like they're going to try to slow down a little bit here, work later into the shot clock, like we saw for most of that first quarter. I think play their own, play their game, not try to rush anything.
Yeah, we'll see what Josh Sawada does right now at the top of the field. Pass to number 2. Shot was taken again. A quick shot. Picked up by Josh Sawada again. He seems to be making sure his man's set up right now. He's jogging back and forth in the midfield, looking for somebody to open up right now. Pass to number 3. Shot by Michigan, putting the score up to 6-4. Jack, what did we say? As soon as they slowed down and stopped taking those rush goals.
Absolutely. I think we got it all right. And I'll say this, Josh Sawada, obviously we already talked about his offensive skill set and what he brings what he's always brought to the table for Michigan, but he has grown so much as a playmaker for others over these last few seasons. That possession for him, he had an ISO opportunity. He could have taken it himself. Instead, he sets himself up, finds Bryce Clay, easy goal, doesn't get any better than that. He is facilitating this offense, and that's why they're playing at a high level up against the number 5 team in the country here.
No, I agree. I think he's the leader that Michigan needs right now, and for him to constantly be stepping up and always being that leader on the field is the structure that the Michigan offense needs.
And just being a complete player, playing strong lacrosse, maybe not always when the ball's in your hands or when you're looking or in your net or when you're looking to score.
I agree. So shot was taken by Penn State. Goalie did not allow it in. That was Ryan Carr.
Another really long shot. Their average shot's got to be 30+ feet here.
No, I totally agree. Every shot that Penn State has taken has been from almost midfield. All right, we see a rush down by Michigan. It'd be a little bit of a trick, a little bit of a press break right now.
Michigan almost had one there, tried to set one up in transition, but couldn't connect on the pass right in front of the net there. Really close to making this a 3-point lead. Now Penn State resets with possession at the other end.
We saw a little bit of the sun come out just a minute ago.
For just a second.
Just a second. It's a beautiful weekend here in Ann Arbor. Comes to a close with another cloudy sky.
Absolutely.
We see number 20 now on Penn State with possession. Takes a shot. Was recovered. Goalie did not allow that one in, which was everybody on the stands really was in awe about that save.
Yeah, the way I saw that one, it bounced directly off the Michigan defender's chest. I don't know if that was intentional or if he just got caught in the crossfire, but either way, it's going to leave a bruise tomorrow.
Yeah, that one's coming from somebody who played lacrosse in high school. Those balls are not soft. Let me tell you.
I believe it. Got a timeout here. Let's see what Michigan and Penn State are going to cook up, make some adjustments in the last 2 minutes, 34 seconds before halftime. If either of them can, create any separation or bring the game for Penn State, obviously bring the game a little bit closer.
I think Penn State, you shouldn't sleep on them right now. I think they just made more goals in this period than they have Michigan. So I'm gonna give Penn State the benefit of the doubt and see what they do in the next quarter.
And that's why these next 2.5 minutes mean so much to Michigan here, because it's going to be so important for them to go into the halftime locker room with some momentum. They got a 2-point lead right now. They're playing strong lacrosse, but it's been a back-and-forth quarter for them. If they can hold on to that lead, add one goal, or even just keep possession in their own hands, it's going to be huge for them for the second half.
Yeah, we're going to see them have to come and play with the same mindset that they've had all of the first quarter, or all of the first half. It's been interesting for us to watch here today, considering half the time Michigan has been a little bit scrappy on their offense, and then on the other half they've been nice and consistent, having Josh Suwata come in and really control what they're doing. So we'll see if they lock down and capitalize on their skills and what they've been doing correctly versus what they kind of are hesitating on.
Yeah, for sure, and I think a big part of that scrappy defense has been on the interior. Penn State is not looking to get inside. They're shooting those shots from so far away. Michigan, the defensemen have to keep being pests, have to keep being physical, and can't allow Penn State to really find any penetration here in the last 2.5 minutes. And if Michigan gets the ball back, I would bet good money that they're going to play as slow as they possibly can.
I think they're gonna try to run down these last 2 minutes and 34 seconds, run down the shot clock, really take far wide shots, and making Penn State have to use the entirety of the field in order to even set up a play. So,
absolutely.
All right, now we start the Michigan possession. Number 5 takes the lead. Michael Boehm on the far side of the field, trying to find something. Like we said, keeping it slow, running down the shot clock, little spin move, looking for a player. Really a lot of hesitation right now, and I think that's exactly what was said before. So, little speed coming up. That was a shot taken by number 40.
Seems like I would have lost some money there because Michigan took a shot pretty fast coming out of the break. Now Penn State's going to come back with possession, see if they can cut into this gap a little bit before halftime.
Oh, it was a turnover by Michigan. Recovered by Michigan, my fault. Up to number 21 there. Now Michigan has possession of the ball again. Pass up to number 22, midfield, looking for something. They're going to have to capitalize on their turnover right now, considering that they just got the ball back. Taking it slow right now, right next to the block M. Number 27 has possession, passing it to 29 on Michigan. Peter Thompson. Peter Thompson makes a break, tries to shoot. It's no goal. Recovered by number 50, Jack Fraken.
And now they're going to have to reset and get back quickly because Penn State, now with just 1 minute and 10 seconds left, desperate to get one in the back of the net before they head to the locker room.
Yeah, it seems as if we're waiting for Penn State to clear. All right, Penn State just cleared. Number 29 or 28, looking for an opening. They're playing a little bit catch back and forth. Penn State with the 46 seconds left. Between number 46, Will Mitchell, and number 22 for Penn State, Matt Traynor. Penn State takes it behind the goal, looking for a quick shot. A lot of tight defense for Michigan, I think they switch back to man-to-man, so they're not really allowing Penn State to have any leeway.
Wow. Like misconnection there for Penn State. Michigan might get to the locker room with that 2-point lead, going to hold on to possession here with about 10 seconds left. That was a really unfortunate for Penn State, an unforced error, couldn't connect on a pass, and this half's over.
Yep, that is the clock for the first half. You know, it was a very, very back and forth game today. I think a lot of people are kind of questioning what Michigan is going to do with the next half, considering they have the lead. And this is the first time that they've had the lead. I want to say in about 3 or 4 games that they've kept the lead into the second half.
Huge sign of development for them that they were able to weather the storm. They came out strong, and then when things slowed down, they stayed disciplined and they stayed on top. That's reflected in the scoreboard. That's a huge plus for them going into the second half. Now we're going to have to see if they can regain some of that offensive confidence that they started the game with, keeping aggressive, keeping physical, and finding the gaps in that Penn State defense.
What do you think what do you think is their biggest weakness right now?
For Michigan?
That they have to lock down and make sure that they have a conversation in the locker room about.
I think it's just maintaining offensive possession. I think that those early shots in the shot clock looked forced. They got quick, and that's when the game sort of felt the most out of their hands. I think that they're going to have to settle in, and Kevin Conley's going to have to tell his guys, stay disciplined, trust your teammates, keep passing the ball around, because there's going to be an open shot. That's what we've seen so far. They've found 6 of them at least, and they're going to have to just stay with it. Stay with their slow, more deliberate offensive skill set and game plan.
Do you think that Penn State is going to take this deficit as energy, almost as fuel, in order to use the discipline that they have in order to continue to fight for almost like the status that they have as number 5 in the country?
Look, this is one of the best teams in the country, and the fact that they've only put up 4 goals in the first half, I wouldn't trust that trend to continue. I think they're going to come out swinging here, and they know that they're better than the performance they just showed in the first half. So Michigan's going to have a tall order here, because I wouldn't expect another slow offensive half of Lacrosse out of the Nittany Lions.
No, I don't. I also agree. I don't think Penn State is at all going to let this one fall behind, considering that the last games that they've had have all been dubs.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, now we were going to take a little bit of a break. We'll see you back for the start of the second half. Michigan right now leads 6-4 against the Nittany Lions, Penn State. So when we come back, I will be off the call. The call will be between Jack and John. So it was great being on, and as always, go blue. We'll see you in the second half.
Thanks so much.
And welcome back. This is John Tondora and
Jack Conlin here as well. We are underway in the third quarter back in Ann Arbor. Michigan still up 6-4 against the number 5 ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. We are about 10 seconds into the third period here.
Yeah, and Jack, while we get this started here, we see that the Nittany Lions are moving through their midfield right now. But what were the key takeaways going into halftime? I know you and Noelle spoke about this in the middle procession, but what were some things you were focusing on?
I mean, Penn State really struggled offensively, and credit to the Michigan defense. I think that they held on to possession for long enough that Penn State wasn't able to really establish themselves at that end of the field. And now Penn State's trying to play catch up. They only got a half hour of lacrosse here in the second half to try to get back into this and avoid getting upset in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, exactly. And now we see number 35 in blue for Penn State cycling around, working around. Penn State content to use some patience, but a misfired pass here intended for number 7 in blue, and suddenly it's Wolverines' ball. And again, here we're seeing, a little bit of turnovers, a little bit of aggressive defense, Jack. This is kind of the way Michigan wants to play its game. Am I wrong?
Absolutely, John. I couldn't agree more. I think that Michigan is forcing Penn State to play fast, maybe play a little bit out of their element, and then we're seeing some errors come through.
Yeah, certainly, and now we see number 27 for the University of Michigan. That is Aiden Mulholland, the midfielder, coming in with the ball. Has passed it over to number 29 in white. Down to number 9 in white, Josh Sawada for the Wolverines. He's their fire starter. He's coming across off the top of the key. Takes a shot. Bounces, and it's out of bounds, but it will retain Michigan possession. That's number 5, Michael Boehm, getting it started again here for the Wolverines.
Zawada's so dangerous every time he has the ball, looking like he's playing box lacrosse back in Canada out there. Really impressive stuff from him.
Exactly, and that's a shot in tight close, but the Nittany Lions pick it up off the ground, and suddenly they're off to the races. This is an opportunity for the Michigan defensive transition game kind of show out once more. What have you seen from them so far, Jack?
It's interesting. I will say Michigan defensively switching it up, playing physical throughout but giving different looks. I think here in this instance they're going to have to force Penn State to continue to be uncomfortable and really just try to get the ball back and slow things down for the Michigan offense, because that's the way that Michigan was able to hold on to this lead. They built it up in the first quarter and then slowed things down in the second quarter, and Penn State couldn't really recover. So let's see if they can keep making Penn State uncomfortable, keep playing physical, keep being pesky on defense. Looks like that's what they're trying to do here. A lot of checking, a lot of stick involvement early on.
Exactly, and this is Nittany Lion Ethan Long with the ball, passes it up top to number 19 in blue. He's going to make a cut of his own, looking for some space here. But another drop ball. It retains Nittany Lion possession, but then a quick check, and it's back into the hands of the Wolverines. That's number 16 in white pulling up, starting to make the transition run, moving into the offensive zone, and he's going to pass it down to who other than number 9, Josh Sawada, who's content to try and see if they can catch this Nittany Lion defense off guard. Now back to X. Down low. Working it around, coming up top. That's number 40 in front in white. Shot scores. Again, that's number 40, Ryan Cohen. He's been uber dangerous, the sophomore. He's still a young guy, but as you and I both know, Jack, he can really light the lamp.
He has been so impressive this year at the offensive end, and he just showed why right there. He takes his man one-on-one, gives him the business, works inside, close-range shot. It was really no contest. The defender had no shot there. He took advantage of the space, got inside, and was able to get one in underhand to put the lead up to 3 here for Michigan.
Exactly, and if you're Michigan, they've really been successful with time of possession here today. And as we prepare for this face-off, maybe you want to reiterate, Jack, how important is time of possession for a team like Michigan to shut down this Penn State offense?
Well, here's what happens. Early on, Penn State goes into a slump. Uncharacteristic for them. They've only got 4 goals in the first 30 minutes. We know that's not going to last. So for Michigan to hold on to this margin of a lead that they have, they're going to have to dominate the time of possession, control the pace of the game moving forward, and make sure that Penn State doesn't really even have the ball with a chance to get back into this thing. That's their path to victory here, and it looks like they're on the way to making that happen so far.
Yep, well on their way. Number 37 in white for the Wolverines. That's Nick Rowlett winning the faceoff. And now we see Michigan going into its transition game. Stepping in for a shot, that's number 23 on white, saved for the Nittany Lions. Now there's a scramble for the ball outside at X. A huge check leveled by number 9, Josh Zawada, not normally his cup of tea, but at the end of the day, sometimes you got to use the body. And
use the body he did there, John. He just laid the absolute hammer, and Michigan retains possession here, resets the shot clock. That's got to be demoralizing for the Nittany Lions here as they try to work back into this one.
Exactly, and Penn State, not a team known to be out-physical necessarily. You know, you don't get to number 5 in the nation by having that level of sloppiness, so to speak. But at the end of the day, if you're the Nittany Lions, it's all about settling in. And as we speak of settling in, it's what the Michigan offense is content to do, though.
I'll tell you what, John, it's going to be tough for them to settle in if Michigan's playing as physically as they did just there. That was a really impressive hit. It got the crowd going and got the Michigan offense excited, I'm sure.
Exactly, and if you want to talk about settling in, and as we've said now probably 4 times in a row, but it's all about disruption. And for the Wolverines, they're used to getting their game disrupted. We look back to last week, an overtime loss by 1 to the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. You know, when you're not able to get settled and you're not able to get comfortable, it's hard to score goals. But that's what Michigan hopes it can do as number 9 Josh Zawada passes down low for a shot. That's saved. Shot by number 2 Jake Bonomi, the senior, who we know is uber aggressive and uber successful and talented. But the Wolverines will retain possession here in the top right corner.
And Michigan looks really comfortable here. You talked about the importance of staying comfortable, and maybe they weren't last week. Today they're playing slow, they're playing fast, they're playing together. And obviously got a good team offense. They've got guys winning one-on-one matchups.
And speaking of one-on-one matchups, that's a shot and score from number 3, the graduate student Bryce Clay. You know, he took that one-on-one matchup off a screen. The Nittany Lion defenders don't bite, but at the end of the day, it's not all bark and no bite for Clay as he nets that goal, and suddenly it's 8-4. And if you're Penn State, what do you need to do to kind of right the ship in this second half?
Well, here you just got to settle down. That's a really tough sequence of events. Michigan holds onto the ball for more than a minute. Their shot clock resets a couple times. Somebody, you know, a player gets hit to the degree that they did, demoralizing there. And then Bryce Clay just puts it in a really impressive shot. So they've got to slow the game down here. But it starts with winning this face-off, something they haven't been able to do consistently today. And that's really been hurting them.
Yep, there is exactly what you want if you're the Nittany Lions. 38 in blue, down to number 7 in the right corner. 7 in blue, that is, the Nittany Lions.
Looks like they're going to get their personnel on the field here and then get going offensively.
Exactly. You know, this is what you need. You need to settle in if you're Penn State. 8-4, it's not over. There's a cut by number 35 towards the net, now brought back out to X by the Nittany Lions. A quick pass down to number 7, that's TJ Malone, who's content to reject a screen from number 23 in blue and try and take it all himself. But Michigan not giving up easy, not giving up any chances as a shot turned away by Shane Carr off the bounce.
You know, early on, in that, especially in that second quarter when Penn State found probably their most consistent offensive success, they were playing deep out. They were playing in front of the net. Here in the third quarter, they're working behind as much as possible. I wonder what adjustment they made at halftime, what they saw that made them think that was going to be more successful for them here in the third quarter.
Exactly, Jack. And, you know, on the flip side, we know Kevin Conroy loves to stress getting those hands tied for the Michigan defenders. They're looking to make sure that the Nittany Lion offense doesn't have room to work, and that's exactly what's happening right now is a slip by number 16 on front as he recovers, stumbles, shot, and a falling shot and a score. Will it count? Yes, it will.
I think they're going to count that. Really impressive stuff from number 16 on Penn State. That's Trainer. As he was falling to the ground, he puts that one in the bottom right corner. Penn State now only down 3 after a huge, potentially momentum-swinging goal for them.
Exactly, and I think you'd agree, Jack. If you're the Nittany Lions, you need this. You got to settle in. I mean, how many times have we used that phrase today? It's all about just keeping calm, as we know they can do, and netting that goal. But
and speaking of things we can't stop saying, it's about possession here. You know, you have to win this face-off and start stringing these together, because if Michigan gets the ball back, then that goal's going to feel really far away really quickly.
Exactly, and on the flip side, if we can get a 2-goal swing for the Nittany Lions here, suddenly Penn State's in striking distance, and anything can happen.
Especially for the number 5 team in the nation.
Exactly, but alas for the Nittany Lions, that's a face-off win by number 37 Nick Rowlett, turned away, but ball will retain. Oh no, the ball will flip to the Nittany Lions, and suddenly a frustrating scenario becomes a new opportunity today, as number 35 in blue is content to set up on offense for the Nittany Lions, cutting across to the net. Passes behind the net, as you have mentioned so often and well tonight, Jack. Now it's 40 in blue. Bringing it around. pestered by number 16 in white. Back to the other side.
Michigan doing a really good job clogging those passing lanes in front of the net in the third quarter here, making Penn State work different parts of the field, unable to find creases so far.
Exactly. No wrinkles in Michigan's defense as of yet, as a missed pass will give the Wolverines the opportunity to grab the ball, but that's picked up by the Nittany Lions.
A lot of missed passes for Penn State today. That's really been hurting them as they try to build, successful play upon successful play. They can't connect on all these.
Exactly, and that's TJ Malone with the ball, receiving a pass from Costin. He stumbles. Keeps hold of the ball, though, and takes a shot, but that'll fall wide. Nittany Lions retain possession.
He fell to the ground. He's talking to the official right now. Michigan playing really physically here on defense, and it looks like it's working out for them. I'm not seeing any flags on the ground.
Exactly, and we've only had one man-up goal for the Wolverines, or goal allowed for the Wolverines, but it looks like the physicality is paying off as that's a missed shot that rattles off the side of the net, and the Wolverines are content to go back onto offense.
Again, unable to find a clean look. Really impressive stuff from the Michigan defense. They're playing really well together. They're switching well. They're helping well, and then they're backing off at the same time, trusting their guys to defend their man.
Exactly, and that's Jacob Jackson who tries to rip a shot while the Nittany Lion defenders were napping, but he does not have the accuracy. The ball will retain with Michigan, as that's number 40. Ryan Cohen, who will inbound the ball.
Gonna assume they're gonna look for Josh Zawada here at some point, try to work back to the left side of the field.
Exactly, and Jack, one key impact player who we have not seen as much of today, who was a necessity for Michigan this time last year, even though they lost, is number 1, Justin Brown. They call him JB. Why do you think he's not been able to factor in so far?
That's an interesting question, and we all remember a year ago how impactful he was. He was like lightning on the field, moving around, getting open shots. Michigan has an embarrassment of riches at the offensive end. I think that they are trying to find the matchups that work well together, and Justin Brown's a great one-on-one player. But if Conry's trusting the chemistry of his other attackmen, then maybe Justin Brown's not in the equation today.
Exactly. We'll have to see if he makes an impact down the stretch. It's a huge save by the Nittany Lions. Leads to a new offensive day for them. However, there's a scrum here in the midfield. Number 22 for the Nittany Lions still holding. 22 in blue, that is.
And bad news if you're a Michigan fan. I'm seeing a slight limp from Mikey Boehm, who took a hard fall.
Exactly, and compounding that bad news, that's a goal shot and scored by Penn State. And don't look now, but it's 8-6. Exactly what we just mentioned, Jack. Striking distance.
Right here, and this is exactly what you don't want if you're Kevin Conry. He's calling a timeout. He's talking to his guys. You got to maintain composure here. A couple things don't go your way, unable to capitalize at the offensive end. But their transition game struggled, and now it's a 2-score game. So they're really going to have to settle in here and keep playing at a physical level and really just disciplined on defense. Keep marking their men, because on that one it looked like a couple guys were a half step behind, and that leads to goals in lacrosse every time.
Exactly, and it's going to start with the face-off win, as you mentioned, Jack. Nick Rowlett has been strong today for the Wolverines, but you have to credit the fact that working out of non-possession plays, the Nittany Lions have been able to keep it close, right? And initially, you think about how much time of possession the Wolverines have had. It's not unreasonable to think that this score could be a lot more lopsided. So the Wolverines are lucky to have this 2-goal lead, but at the same time, Penn State has yet to give up.
I agree, and I think if Penn State ends up on top of this one, Michigan's going to see this game as one that got away from them. They really have played strong fundamental lacrosse through the first 2 quarters and change here. So if they're unable to maintain this lead, if they let this one slip away from them, it's going to be frustrating for sure.
Exactly, and maybe it's time to highlight, as we're looking at the American flag flying on the other side of the field here. The wind is whipping today, so it's an interesting game. The elements are certainly at play. You never want to blame it one side or the other. Both teams have to deal with it, but sometimes it can mean all the difference, whether it's, a shot that rims off the post or a ball that flies away, just not in the direction you would want it.
Absolutely, and Michigan plays on turf. We had a lot of rain here in Ann Arbor on and off today, and we saw players slipping. We saw the ball, really sliding on the ground. Players were not connecting on passes for both sides. Really interesting stuff. To see how that makes an impact. But at the end of the day, this is lacrosse. You got to play tough, and you got to play through the adversity. And the better team will be the team that comes out on top and is able to do that today.
Exactly, Jack. And, while we're still kind of coming out of this timeout, let's look ahead really quickly. Ohio State, currently ranked as one of the top teams in the nation as well. If you're the Wolverines, how important is a win today in facing an arch rival next week?
we talked about the importance of building good possessions, but in the same sense, you got to build good performances. And getting hot right at the end of the season, heading into that tournament, Big 10 tournament, would be so big for Michigan. And playing a rival, getting a win here on their home field would mean so much for Michigan. I think it cannot be overstated. And they're a quarter and change away from doing that, so let's see if they can hold on.
Exactly, Jack. And Coach Kevin Connery goes to Justin Whitfield in the face-off circle, and it ends up working out as a whistle by the referee makes it Michigan Wolverines ball. So here they go as the Wolverines look to set up on offense. That's number 3 in white with the ball, Bryce Clay. We know he's netted 2 goals today. Maybe they look to him. Right now, working with the ball is number 2, Jake Bonomi, up in the top right corner. Flips it over to number 9, Josh Sawada, who comes around for a shot, but it's off the post. Retained by the Wolverines, picked up by number 5 in white, who swings it on over. And that's a one-on-one move shot, but saved.
That was that's not what you want if you're Michigan. You don't really create enough separation there, and it's an easy save for Penn State. Now they got possession, and they're already back on the offensive end. Exactly,
and I'm sure number 9, Josh Sawada's kicking himself right now after watching that one rim off the post. But at the end of the day, that's lacrosse. That's any one of these types of sports, you know. Goaltender's best friend is that post as the Nittany Lions are here setting up on offense. That's number 20 in blue, Ethan Long, holding the ball, swings it on over now to number 19, Luke Mercer, who's content to take his one-on-one, cutting towards the net. Back down into the bottom right corner.
Michigan really priding themselves on physicality here on defense. You can see it every time they walk down there. They get excited. They're hitting these guys. They're making them uncomfortable, and it's made an impact so far on the game. Trying to just, you know, assert themselves as much as possible.
Exactly, and right now, Michigan seemingly switching back to his own defense as the man has abandoned his man at X. That's a turnaround shot saved.
Great save. Michigan going to work back the other way. Great stuff by their goalie, who hasn't had to do a ton of work today, but putting together an impressive outing.
Exactly, and worthwhile to note that's number 15, Hunter Taylor, in net for the Wolverines, a deviation from their normal starter, Shane Carr. So we'll have to see if that's something with Carr or if that's just, you know, something to look forward to down the line. But only a freshman, Hunter Taylor, is a very highly talented guy as the Wolverines are here on offense.
You know, they've switched back and forth between Carr and Taylor. Both have been effective throughout, but I'm interested to see what Connery had to say to Shane Carr as he came off after playing in the first half.
Exactly, and that's Jacob Jackson using a screen for a shot, but it's going to sail wide left and stay with the Wolverines. Now the ball in the hands of number 9, Josh Sawada, on the far left. Content to hold, bringing it around, taking it a screen from another Wolverine. Staying patient, we're seeing a deviation back to how Michigan was playing earlier. I'm sure in that timeout, Kevin Connery stressed the necessity of staying patient on offense. This is number 29 in white.
They're really trying to feel out this Penn State defense right now, see who they can get out of position, who they can make move just an inch out of their spot and create a lane for them to shoot.
Exactly, and that's a shot again by number 29, saved by the Nittany Lions. And now it's a scrum in the back of the net, picked up by number 15, Jacob Jackson, who's going to swing it around. Now over to Zawada, down to 27 in white. Shot to a cutting man, but that won't get through. A huge check again by the Wolverines.
Michigan just making themselves known. I feel for the Nittany Lions who are taking these shots right now because they're seeing the ground a whole lot here.
Oh, and an atrocious turnover by the Wolverines, but an amazing save by number 52 in net for the Wolverines. That's Hunter Taylor again, but oh my goodness, that was almost dangerous.
That right there is why Taylor is getting this playing time as a young goalie. You know, Penn State ends up with what is essentially an open goal, and he makes a diving play. Great instincts, gets in front of that, and saves Michigan from being just one goal up on Penn State.
Exactly, and this is number 35 in blue with the ball. Passes it over to 22. That's Matt Trainer. How many times have we called his name today? The uber dangerous player for the Nittany Lions. He takes a shot. Saved, bounced off another Nittany line, and now there's a scrum behind the net. Recovered by the Wolverines and Hunter Taylor, who's just had an eye for the ball today, it seems.
Absolutely. Michigan hasn't done a lot in the last couple minutes here, but in terms of, you know, asserting themselves on offense, they're going to see if they can close out this third quarter, maybe extend that lead a little bit.
Exactly. Now the ball in the hands of number 5. for Michigan. Down back to X behind the net. That's number 3, Bryce Clay, who's going to swing it on over to number 22 in white. Content to hold it, work this shot clock here. We know Michigan has had success all day. With 40 seconds left on the shot clock and over a minute on game clock, you know that Michigan wants to try and limit any Penn State opportunities at this point of the game. A shot by number 22 saved, a huge save.
And here comes Penn State, 45 seconds left. Let's see what they're going to set up at the offensive end if they can get down there.
Exactly. Pushing forward now, Jack, what can you speak to what Penn State needs to do to continue to succeed? As that's a turnover by Penn State, so probably not exactly what they're looking for. Bryce Clay with the ball in the midfield, but Jack, what do we need to see here?
It's funny, I was going to say transition. They've been really effective when the ball is moving, when players are moving quickly. They're trying to sub in and out, and they can find the matchups that they want.
And a turnover in transition, and who other than Josh Zawada, number 9 in white for the Wolverines, makes Penn State pay with 16 seconds left on the shot clock. Michigan now up 3. That's up 3. Michigan is 9-6 with 15 seconds left.
You ask what Penn State is looking for here, I'll tell you not that. The ball in Josh Zawada, with Josh Zawada, and he just finds the back of the net like there's a magnet in the ball in the back of the net. It's really impressive stuff from him. He goes high, he goes low, he can score from anywhere. That one, bottom left corner, underhand from him, really great stuff.
Exactly, a low to high if they would call it that, and now number 38 again, Justin Wheatfield in for the Wolverines to take this face-off. Kevin Connery seemingly has made a switch in this latter half of the third quarter, but with 16 seconds left, we'll have to see if Michigan looks to press on offense, as they will. That's a win. Face-off win.
And Kevin Connery knows. They've been here before with a chance to beat Penn State late in a game. They were here last year, and they couldn't pull it out. You can tell just looking at the body language how badly he wants this one.
Exactly, and that was a missed shot there by the Wolverines. With 1 second left, it looks like they will enter into the fourth and final quarter here today. Up 9-6. That's Michigan 9, Penn State University 6. A 3-goal lead, Jack. It got rocky there at times for the Wolverines, yet they come away with that same 3-goal lead. And what do they need to do to make sure that they keep it?
I'm going to sound like a broken record here, John. So I want to ask you that question instead. I'm not going to say possession. I'm not going to say discipline on defense. What do you think Kevin Connery's telling his team in this quarter huddle right now as they're 15 minutes away from beating the fifth-ranked team in the country?
I think that's a great question, Jack. I wonder why you'd ask it. But I think from what we've seen today, it's been the same old story. It's the contributors. It's the Josh Zawadas, the Ryan Cohens, the Bryce Clays. You know, we talked about number 1 JB Justin Brown, maybe not necessarily factoring into the score sheet. So in that sense, it's a little different than in years past, but this is a potent Michigan offense. We know right now that Michigan tops the Big 10 and ranks 5th nationally in shooting percentage, converting on 35% of their shots taken this year, which is just an incredible amount for such a young team, a team still in its growth and development stage. But if you're Michigan, you're going to lean on those heavy hitters, those offensive powerhouses in Zawada, in Cohen, in Boehm, in these guys who are going to light the lamp and find the back of the net. So to you, Jack, I say, who are you looking forward to as someone who could step up for the Wolverines in this fourth quarter in that group?
He's the name we've been saying all day, but we talk about this being a young program, and this is a real test for them, these final 15 minutes, to see if they can play with the lead against a higher-ranked team. And I think in instances like that, you look to your best players, you look to your veterans, and you look to the guys who form your identity. So that's going to be Josh Zawada without a doubt. I think that he's got to be a leader on offense, you know, looking to score. But as we said, this year he moves the ball so well. He plays so well with his teammates, setting them up. So let's see how he can sort of facilitate the offense, play point guard for them, and move the ball around, get them an opportunity to hold on to this lead and prove themselves as a mature team that can handle themselves in situations like this.
You're exactly right, Jack. And as we set up here for the final quarter of tonight's matchup, this is once again Michigan with 9 goals, Penn State with 6. And Kevin Connery likes what he's seeing, because that looks to be Justin Wheatfield back in the face-off circle once more to take this. And we are seconds away from being underway. That's the face-off. It's a battle right now, recovered by Penn State. But after a referee whistle, the ball will go the way of the Wolverines as Justin Wheatfield takes it over the line. Content to pass it in, stays on the field. That's number 5 in white with the ball, Michael Boehm.
Haven't called his name a lot today.
certainly, but an impact player nonetheless. We're excited to see what Kevin Connery has cooking for Bame and the Wolverines now that he's on the field. But now that's back up top to number 27 in white, as Jacob Jackson, who's clearly been a fire starter for the Wolverines today, steps up to the top at midfield here. Content to hold the ball in a one-on-one man situation. Makes a break, makes one move, passes it over to Cohen, who fumbles a pass, and then two Wolverines knock into one another, and suddenly it's Penn State ball. Michigan has to go quick on its ride.
Michigan's got to get back here on defense. Penn State's so good in transition.
Exactly, and that's a pass, and a shot. Shot and scored by the Nittany Lions to make it 9-7.
Far from ideal start for Michigan to this quarter. I mean, that's really, really strong stuff from Penn State. They move the ball up, and they're just a step ahead of Michigan the whole time as they're trying to get back to their own net. Penn State beats them down there, and they set up, a pass that, Taylor can't. You can't fault him for not saving that. It was really impressive stuff off an assist, and now it's a 2-score game, and Michigan's got to reset, have a short memory here.
Exactly. You want that goldfish memory, but to just touch on what we talked about a little bit earlier, we talk about the maturity of a team, and two Wolverines running into one another on what seemed to be an offensive scheme is not what you're looking for.
Josh Zawada, no less, my impact player of the fourth quarter. Not a great look for them to start. He's going to have to reset here.
Exactly, and that's a behind-the-back pass that was very successful off a Penn State Nittany Lion win here in the face-off circle. And now within striking distance once more, down only 2 goals. Penn State, number 22 in blue, content to hold the ball at the top while the Nittany Lions get their personnel out. That's number 16 in blue making his move. Now at the top of the key, making one more move, darting to the top of the net, getting his hands free, and that's a shot. Saved. But it will retain Nittany Lion ball. Actually, there's a flag on the play here. We're seeing the referee has something to say. So, Jack, what do you think this is?
I think they're going to get Michigan here playing a little too physical. I will say Michigan's got to not let this shake them, because as Penn State starts swinging offensively, playing a little bit more desperate, definitely more aggressive, they can't shy away from that and they can't back down. That's the identity, that defensive identity of being physical, of being pushy, of being pesky has gotten them this far with a lead, and they got to keep playing that way. Unfortunate for them that they got called there for maybe playing too physically, but they got to stick with it. They have to keep pushing Penn State out of their comfort zone.
Exactly, Jack. And if it's a boxing match, then Penn State just swung and landed a huge punch, because that's Michigan 9 but Penn State 8, and suddenly it's a 2-goal swing here, and the Nittany Lions are inching ever closer. But as you were saying, Jack, this is where if you're Michigan, it's a fight. It's not a question of if the punches are going to land. It's going to be a question of when. And as such, how does Michigan respond here? If you're Michigan, does it start with possession? Does it start with the face-off? How do they recover from what's looking to be a little bit of a skid?
This is a huge test for them, and all the guys that have gotten them here, the goals from Zawada, the goals from Cohen, those guys have to keep their foot on the gas at the offensive end. If you have the ball, you have to set your team up and get a good shot, because if you play tentative, or if you play loose, or you play a half second slow, you're going to give up this lead and you're going to go home with a loss.
Exactly, and that's a face-off win after a lengthy battle by the Nittany Lions, and now their sideline is buzzing. You can hear the crowd cheering for them as it's one shot away from being a level game. That's number 22 in blue, Matt Trainer with the ball. Brother of Jack Trainer, another excellent player on this Nittany Lion team. Now passed over to number 7 in blue, TJ Malone. Content to take a one-on-one, now uses a screen by his fellow Nittany Lion for an open shot, ripped just wide.
That was a great setup off a switch. Penn State had a man open, and he wasn't able to find the back of the net. Michigan got really lucky there.
Exactly, that's one he doesn't miss often. Now back to number 16, Jack Trainer with the ball.
Trainer playing so well with the ball in the net today.
Takes another screen, sees an open man. That's a shot, huge. Saved. It looked like it just tipped off of number 52, Hunter Taylor for the Wolverines, who Coach Kevin Connery, despite being a young man, looks like he's going to stick with Hunter Taylor in this scenario. Oh, and that's a fall by a Nittany Lion, and suddenly it's Wolverine possession. Jack, what'd you see there?
Penn State with these small unforced errors that have proven to be the difference so far. Another one, falls over to lose possession, and now Michigan's trying to get the ball back to the offensive end. that could be huge for Michigan as they try to stifle this Penn State comeback attempt.
Exactly, and it's definitely been a little bit of a goofy game, as you could describe it. It seems like uncharacteristic mistakes for both teams are what's kind of defining the momentum shifts here, as number 2 in white, that's Jake Bonomi, takes the ball, the midfielder.
And when things get chaotic, you got to look to your veterans. This is going to be a huge possession for Michigan, especially with those older guys. They got to get the ball in somebody's hands who's confident, who's been here before, and who knows how to get the ball in the back of the net.
Exactly, and speaking of veterans, it's the senior number 9 passing over to number 2 in white, who loses the ball on what looked to be a wind-up to a shot. And now Michigan's defensive ride is once again going to have to kind of work into play here, as Penn State is pushing the pace uber rapidly, but a dropped pass by number 32 in blue means Michigan will have another chance to set up on defense. Jack, talk more about what has made this game a little bit different from what both of these teams would have initially expected, whether it's unforced errors, whether it's simple mistakes.
Penn State, it's just that slow start. They don't hold the ball for much in the first quarter or the second quarter. They only put up 4 goals early on, and now they're playing catch-up. It's hard to score on offense when you limit yourself and play desperate, play from behind. They've gotten a little more confidence back, obviously, in these last 5 minutes or so, but they played uncharacteristic at the offensive end, really trying to play catch-up and make up for those really slow early minutes. For Michigan, I think that it as you said, they've had some goofy moments. They just had Josh Zawada run into another player. They just had Jake Bonomi lose a ball uncharacteristically on a shot windup. It's unforced errors that plagued Penn State throughout, or especially early on, that are now biting Michigan a lot.
Yes, and that's a huge save, but then an instant turnover by Hunter Taylor.
Got some confusion here.
And it looks like a whistle for interference is going to allow the Wolverines to retain possession. An uncharacteristic pass by Hunter Taylor there. So
really lucky for Michigan. Play by a young player that could have gone awry and been really bad, as Penn State would have had a chance to tie it up with definitely an advantage numbers-wise down there. Now Michigan's going to get the ball back. Let's see if we see them play fast or if we see them play slow. Let's see if we see them play measured or aggressive here.
Exactly. That's number 15, Jacob Jackson, passing to the top. Here to Josh Zawada. Jackson with the screen. Zawada ignores it, content to rush in. Pass down to number 40, Cohen.
And good for him to not force a shot there. Couldn't find any separation, couldn't find any room in those shooting lanes.
And exactly. Cohen getting rid of it now. Now down to number 22 in white, looking for a shot, doesn't take it. Number 5 in white, here with the ball, looking for an angle. Oh, Josh Zawada may have had a shot right there, but he's intent to pass the ball, probably exercise some of that patience you mentioned, Jack. Oh, Josh Zawada still working here behind X, and that's an uncharacteristic mistake. He steps into that restricted area, and suddenly
Penn State back with the ball. Really brutal for the young star for Michigan who turns the ball over here again, giving Penn State another chance to tie it up.
Exactly.
Now he's on the ground. Or, excuse me, that's Mikey Bain.
Regardless, you don't want to see any Wolverine on the ground if you're a Michigan fan. But here on the other end, we have number 48 in blue for the Nittany Lions, cycling it over to number 16. Content to move to the deep left side of the field here. Some excellent stick checking here by the Wolverine defender in white, number 14. Moves off a screen. And a lack of switch and 2 flags fly.
Called for a stick check, Michigan. Gonna lose possession here again. We talk about self-inflicted wounds. That is just a nightmare sequence for Michigan as they're unable to hold on to the ball. Yet again, they get a good defensive stop that's negated by a stick check. And Penn State's gonna have yet another chance here as Michigan sends a player off for a man down minute.
Exactly, and now, 1 minute in the span of a 60-minute game might not seem like a lot, but for the Wolverines clinging to this 1-goal lead, it's going to feel like an eternity. And Penn State, we know they've converted on 1 already today, and if you're the Wolverines, you're going to have to hope for a turnover or some form of, another unforced error by the Nittany Lions, and just kind of hope that Lady Luck continues to be on your side today.
And Michigan's going to have to play their best, highest energy defense here for this 1 minute while they have a man down.
And speaking of uncharacteristic mistakes, a high pass goes right into the hands of number 2 in white for the Wolverines. And suddenly, if you're Michigan, you hope that this man-up opportunity was negated for the Nittany Lions without even getting a shot off, as Jake Bonomi is content to stand in the midfield and just let that clock run out.
They're going to play slow here. They're going to try to get their man back, but you can't take your foot off the gas too much. You have to get a good shot opportunity here if you're Michigan. On the last possession, we saw them setting screens. They were trying to get guys open, but they have to play good fundamental lacrosse and really have to sell those screens, have to play physical, and make the defenders pay in those situations. Find good matchups and try to beat your man one-on-one.
Exactly, and now with the clock winding down, only 4 seconds left on this man-up opportunity. Michigan still retaining possession with 35 seconds on the shot clock, and now we're going to have an even strength opportunity for the Wolverines. That's number 5, Michael Boehm, the attackman, content to get this offensive setup started for the Wolverines. He's going to cut in towards the net, takes a screen from another one of his Wolverines, unblocked. That's a shot, huge save by number 50, Jack Frayson.
Boehm had a little bit of tunnel vision there. Might have had an open teammate in the center of the field, but opted to go himself, try to take it left, and couldn't find the back of the net there.
Exactly, and just like that, it's the Nittany Lions back again with the ball. 7.5 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter. Michigan only up by 1 goal, a deficit that seems, you know, it was a lifetime ago almost, it feels like, for the Wolverines that they had that 9-6 lead, because suddenly the Nittany Lions are, what have we said all day? Striking distance. Striking distance.
They came pouring back into this one, but we knew this was going to happen. They couldn't stay down for the whole game. Michigan's got to respond here, playing really strong. Another strong hit there, as if on cue.
But perhaps a little too strong. You have to wonder what the referees were seeing there, but regardless, a flag flies, and that's going to end up on Michigan for just a little bit too much sauce. Something that is a line we know they're willing to tote, but it doesn't. It ends up biting them here, Jack.
That's the way they've committed to playing today. They're going to play physical, and they're going to test that boundary. It might hurt them here, but it's also what's allowed them to hold on to a lead all game. So I don't expect anything in that regard to change. Frustrating for them. I'm sure that now the flags are coming out with the game on the line, just over 7 minutes to play.
Exactly, and if you're Coach Connery, you're probably hollering at the referee right now, asking them to let them play. But if you're the Nittany Lions, this is something you've been witnessing all day and saying, thank goodness we're finally getting our opportunity to punish the Wolverines for some sloppiness on defense.
I certainly heard a few let them plays from the crowd here. It doesn't seem like they're too happy with that call.
Exactly, and now with a man-up opportunity, the Nittany Lions have a shot free. That's in, off the post, down low, right in, and just like that, Jack, it's a tie game.
We are tied here in Ann Arbor, 9-9, 6.5 minutes left. Michigan gets caught out of position there, playing a little frantic on defense. Penn State able to exploit and had an open man on the left side of the field out off a quick pass and puts one in from about 20 feet out. All of a sudden, reset, tie ball game, 6.5 minutes of lacrosse.
Exactly, and if you're Kevin Connery, you have to be thankful that there's immediate timeout right now because he is looking to rally his troops. Michigan having a bit of a nightmarish fourth quarter here, as they don't really seem to have an answer for their own mistakes or to figure out this Nittany Lion offense because, you know, if you went to the bathroom, you might have come back thinking that Michigan was going to secure this game, but no, it's 9-9.
Tie game, and if you're Kevin Connery, you got to figure out a way to regain some of that composure. He's in the huddle right now talking to his guys, trying to, you know, instill some more confidence. They've had a couple down minutes, but they had a great stretch of lacrosse to start this game out. They got to get back to that method, the recipe for victory that got them here, and try to avoid crumbling late to a team that, you know, according to rankings is superior, but certainly hasn't looked that way for most of the game today.
Exactly, and if we want to look ahead here, Michigan right now 1-2 in the Big Ten. If they want to host a Big Ten matchup when the Big Ten tournament comes around in just about 2 weeks, with a tough team in Ohio State coming up next week, this is a crucial win. Not only for their resume, perhaps getting into the tournament, that would be their first national tournament bid in program history at the Division I level, but also just for their Big Ten resume as they want to host a game here and potentially find some success. But right now, they're still searching for answers.
Might be in jeopardy here, John. I think I couldn't agree more with what you're saying about the significance of this win. And it's another test for them. How do you respond when you get punched in the face with 6.5 minutes left in the lacrosse game? They've got to play strong on offense, and that starts with winning this face-off here.
Yep, and that looks to be Nick Rowlett back in the face-off circle after a couple of consecutive losses by number 38, Justin Wheatfield. So you have to hope Kevin Connery is relying on his graduate student senior, Nick Rowlett. Kind of an irreplaceable key member of this team. He's been here for 5 years now, and he's seen it all. But this is still an important face-off for him as he knocks it behind and picks it right on up. Oh, and then
Michigan loses the ball right away. Nightmare start.
Exactly what you do not want. Nick Rowlett, an uncharacteristic slip of the stick, and suddenly it's Penn State ball after a Michigan win.
And he's kicking himself for that one, but you got to have a short memory again. No room for error. The margin for error is so small, just 6.5 minutes left, 6 minutes left. So you have to play with energy, and you can't be kicking yourself mid-play.
Exactly. Now some better screenplay by the Wolverines here as the Nittany Lions are taking the ball, cutting to the front of the net. That's number 35 in blue. Pass to number 7, shot and scores, and look at that. Penn State 10, Michigan 9, Jack.
John, you remember that a million long time ago, very long time ago, when Michigan was winning this game? Because it feels like I don't at this point. Penn State has come roaring back into this one. Now they're up 1. All the momentum in their favor. It doesn't even feel like a home game anymore. Michigan reeling, and Kevin Connery knows that something's going to have to change here.
Yeah, Kevin Connery, once so animated on the sidelines, has kind of turned to his assistant coaches here, and they're just staring almost in disbelief. You know, lacrosse can be a game of runs at times. If you're on offense, you love it. Defense, you hate it. But Penn State has put together an incredibly impressive run, and they just did not go away all game. As that's a face-off win and kept by number 37, Nick Rowlett. We didn't know if we'd see that again pretty recently, but he's content to take the ball in, and now Michigan suddenly has to have a little bit of urgency in their own right because they went from having this seemingly insurmountable lead, now being down. They're not even looking for the lead. They're looking for an equalizer here, Jack.
Let's see if they can find it. Let's see who they go to. That's the question. Right now it's Cohen. Boehm not moving off the ball. I'm not seeing Zawada move off the ball. I don't know what they're trying to set up here, but it's got to be to one of those guys. Now we see Zawada with the ball.
Zawada behind the net takes a screen from number 2 in white. Brings it around. Number 2 in white cutting across. Content to wait. That's Cohen with the ball with a shot, and it just trickles wide, and it looks like it's going to be Penn State ball.
Wow. Effort play by Penn State. It looks like number 22, Isaac Aronson, fell over trying to get back, and Penn State beats him to the line. Now they're going to have the ball back with a 1-score lead. Not much of a better spot that they could ask for after being down for most of this one.
Exactly, and if you're Penn State, you're just content to, we kind of abandoned talking about settling in, but suddenly, the Nittany Lions can settle in. They have no urgency. That's a great deep pass by goaltender number 48 in blue for the Nittany Lions, and now we see here Penn State not even really setting up on offense just yet, more content to flip it back to number 20 in blue at the midfield and work through this.
And that's why it's going to be even more important for Michigan to be disruptive. Now you have to play your best defense. After 2 possessions of probably playing their worst defense of the entire game so far, that's what we talk about. That's what a short memory is playing your best after playing your worst, and let's see if they can set it up here.
Exactly, and, we speak on playing their worst, but the fact of the matter is that was another pretty poor play off that screen as a man left unguarded by the Wolverines, and the Nittany Lions attempt to capitalize, but it actually goes off the helmet of one of the Wolverines. Penn State back with the ball here, number 20 cutting across the net, a free open man. The ball
reset here.
Reset here. You're exactly right, Jack. Number 16 waving off a screen. 16 in blue, that is. Taking a shot and another goal. Oh, wow. And things are really starting to unravel here for the Wolverines.
Trainer has had no trouble all night finding the back of the net. That is really impressive stuff. He takes it one-on-one, works to the right side from about 25 feet out, and just nails one right in the top right corner. Now, Penn State, you're up 11-9, 350. You're in the driver's seat. You just got to hold on for these last 4 minutes. If you're Michigan, you need a disruption, you need a change, and you need somebody to light a fire under this team. I don't know who that is. I don't know if it's one of the veterans. I don't know if it's one of the coaches. I don't know if it's an X factor like Justin Brown was last year, but it's going to have to be somebody, and it's going to have to come fast.
Exactly, and we think about what a classic Michigan game, not to be too much of a pessimist here for the Wolverines, but this is a game that happens quite often, as that's going to be a face-off win after a referee whistle, and the Nittany Lions have the ball, and this is kind of the tale of the tape for Michigan in its short history as a Division I program, but falling apart with the lead, squarely having a lead into the third period, and suddenly you have to wonder where it all went wrong, Jack.
Michigan, we've seen them this year knock off one of the best teams in the country. We know that they can hang. We know that they have the ability to compete with the top talent in the nation. We talked earlier when they were up about playing 4 quarters of good lacrosse, and all of a sudden they play 3.5 and start falling apart. these last 3 minutes are going to be hugely telling about the state of that program that they look to be continuing to build on after that strong win earlier in the year against Maryland.
Exactly, Jack. And, Kevin Connery will be the first to tell you 3.5 quarters isn't enough. Won a national championship with Maryland about 7 years ago and then came to this Michigan program. He knows what it takes to win, but right now there seems to still be a disconnect as number 22 in blue brings the ball around the back end of the net, content to keep holding, not looking to pass. Passes it through the middle.
And Michigan almost forces a turnover there, but unable to hold on. Looks like they're going to hold on. They're going to get possession here. They're going to get a shot with 2 minutes and 45 seconds left to get back into this one. What do you think they need to do here, John, besides obviously score the ball to reset and get back into it?
Well, they don't need that because it looks like it's about to be a turnover. A nice pickup off a scrum ball by Jacob Jackson. And this is exactly what they need, Jack. That's going to be a penalty on the Nittany Lions. Michigan's going to go a man up once the Nittany Lions are able to gain control of this ball. But, if you're Michigan here, you need that man up opportunity, something they have not been able to convert on. Not had the opportunity actually yet today, but you don't want to waste too much clock here. You do know that you have that in hand. That's a shot and a miss. Far wide left by number 29 in white. Jack, who are you looking to? Game on the stick, even though you only are down 1 goal after a score, but who needs to be the guy who steps up here on this odd man opportunity?
I can't speak to that. I've said Josh Zawada's name enough times today. They need an X factor, and an offense that's gone stagnant for the majority of this fourth quarter. It could be Cohen, it could be Aronson, it could be Bonomi, it could be anybody, but somebody is going to have to play their best 2 minutes of lacrosse here in the last final 2 minutes and 7 seconds. I don't know who it's going to be, but I know they have the guys to do it. It just depends on who shows up.
Exactly, Jack. And here the ball in Josh Zawada's hands. He passes it down low, cycling it around to number 5, up to 29. Over, that's a fake pass by Cohen. Potentially catches the Nittany Lion defenders napping, but the line will not sleep tonight as they were on that the whole way. That's a pass. Number 3, Bryce Clay. A huge shot missed, and the ball's going to stay with the Wolverines after a diving effort.
And they're going to want to go quickly here to make the most of their time with a man up. But they're running out of time. That's what it comes down to, 1 minute and 43 seconds. Who knows if that's enough time for 2 goals for a team that hasn't scored a goal in a long time.
Exactly. And that won't be a goal right there as a huge save by number 50 in blue after a front doorstep opportunity.
Unbelievable close-range shot that is saved by this incredibly talented Penn State goalie. 1 minute and 23 seconds left. Michigan's in desperation mode here.
Yes, and that'll potentially help them as the ball will go back to the Wolverines after a check on an errant pass. And now they're heaving the ball across the midfield. You see Michigan kicking it into high gear, starting these long passes.
And if you're Penn State, you got to get back. You got to be disciplined. Everybody parked on the bus on defense.
Yeah, and speaking of parking, the game is going to take a brief momentary stop as Kevin Connery's using his timeout. There's 1 minute and 3 seconds left to go. Michigan in the offensive zone. Jack, a lot has to go right here for the Wolverines. You need a goal, a face-off win, and then another goal, and then you're tied.
It's a tall order. We saw these two teams go to overtime last year. We know that's something that's not off the table, and Michigan has the guys to do it. But it's just been so long since they had any confidence at the offensive end. They had a couple looks there on the last possession off the fake pass. Josh Zawada waves off the opportunity and tries to get something else going, leads to a turnover. They need some quick injection of life at the offensive end. Who knows who that's going to come from, but it's not clear who's going to step up for Michigan here.
Exactly, and with so many cooks in the kitchen, as we've mentioned, Michigan definitely has a potent offense. We've touched on the Nittany Lions' skill as well. At times, it can almost feel like this wealth of riches for the Wolverines is not always a good thing. Sometimes you have a little bit of selfish play. Someone doesn't want to make the extra pass. Other times, it feels like they're forcing passes where they could have had shots. We think back to Josh Zawada taking a screen earlier in this fourth quarter and having a wide-open shot that he instead passes up and actually passes to the wrong man, we later learned, as there was a second Wolverine open. So it's the little decisions that end up mattering so much in these moments.
There are positives and there are negatives to every aspect of this game, John. But at the end of the day, Michigan has the guys to win matchups and score 2 goals in the final minute here. It's just a question of execution.
Exactly, and the Wolverines are going to start here with the ball after the timeout in the offensive zone. Now on the far side of the field, what you could call the deep left corner. Josh Zawada out there. He's going to be that fire starter. He's going to get the ball. Accepts a screen from Jacob Jackson, who takes it, a physical screen, which actually knocks Jackson over and slows down their ability to even set up this offense as Josh Zawada looks content to keep it himself. Makes a no-look pass that's going to turn into a potential turnover into a scrum. Ball on the ground.
Oh, that might be ball game, John.
That might be ball game as they're still fighting for it. And the Nittany Lions finally pick it up. And with 38 seconds left, an errant pass by the Nittany Lions leads to a flag, and that looks like it's going to be on Michigan. And now the chances grow even slimmer.
32 seconds left. Penn State fans are standing and applauding. They know what's about to happen. Michigan going to be a man down and just over half a minute to get 2 goals to tie this one up and go to overtime. Might be too tall of an order here for Michigan as the home crowd heads to the parking lot.
Yeah, exactly. We see the fans kind of pouring out of the stands. They already know that it's a tough odds. It's tough odds here for the Wolverines, but you know, and now you need even more to go your way. You need a missed pass. You need a quick goal. You need a face-off win, and then another goal, and then you get your chance at overtime. But it looks like this just might be one of those characteristic games where the Wolverines are fighting, and you know they have a chance, but they're really not able to pull it out.
And you talk about takeaways from a game like this. Michigan, as we said, they can hang with most teams in the country. They've proven that. What they've also proven is that they can't stop themselves from lapsing when the game matters most, and that's what hurts most about an opportunity like this.
Exactly, and now the Nittany Lions, as Michigan pulls its goaltender, a missed assignment, a turnover by the Nittany Lions, picked up by the Wolverines with 13 seconds to go. They're going to have to try something, but it doesn't look like it's going to matter. 8 seconds ticking down on the clock. A long pass connected on by the Wolverines. A missed chance to transition. That one's going to sail out of the back of the end zone. And with 0.7 seconds left, the Nittany Lions are buzzing on their sideline.
It's unbelievable. If you told me a half an hour ago that it was going to end like this, I wouldn't say there was a 0% chance because we know this team, but the version of Michigan lacrosse that we saw at the start of this game looked so confident at both ends. They were in the driver's seat. They were fearless. And then as the game winds down, the last 10, 15 minutes, they throw it away, and I don't know if they hesitated. I don't know what was said. I don't know if there was a lack of adjustment, but there's such a clear, palpable difference between the first half and the fourth quarter version of Michigan lacrosse today, and that was the difference.
Exactly, Jack, and as that final score buzzer sounds, we look at Michigan 9, Penn State 11. Penn State with a 2-goal win after a 5-0 run, finding itself down 9-6 earlier in the game. Penn State was able to claw its way back. Jack, what were they able to do that made them so successful?
They just stayed patient. They stayed with it. They knew how talented they were, and when the going got tough, they kept working, and they found a way to fight back into this game despite struggling so much early on. Really impressive from them. Shows the difference between a really top team in the Big 10 and a team like Michigan that's still fighting to find its way in the conference.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Jack. Thank you for WCBN. This is John Tondora, Jack Conlin, and Noelle Bencie, and we're so thankful to have had you here today. And a loss for the Michigan Wolverines, but they'll be back at it next week against Ohio State.
Thank you so much, John. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.